I think we're all boosted. I'm gonna keep it buck.
Whoa.
I think we're all boosted.
Take that shit. Like, it's all you. Go. Drink, drink, drink. Up, 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 up.
Yep.
Some kits are just they're just conceptually good. Like they can never be bad.
She has the highest win rate in the entire game, and it's not even remotely close.
Luna, Invis, Cloak and Dagger, those ults are for people who are bad at the game, who need something to bail them out of their dumb decisions.
Yeah, I hope we see another massive buff across the board in 5.5 for a whole bunch of characters that kind of got left behind.
You're saying
I
that
know
'cause you're a
Paz
Thor
is gonna be
player.
like,
You're
no.
saying that because you're a Thor
Yeah,
player.
I'm
I
saying
get
that's
it.
a fucking Thor
I
player.
get it.
Yeah. What's up, guys, and welcome to ClearComm's podcast. Today, we're welcoming two special guests, Deathandgaming and Paz, to talk about a year of Marvel Rivals. It's been out for a year. What's up, guys? Introduce yourself first, Paz. Tell the people who you are.
Well, yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me, guys. I'm Paz. Some of you, if you don't know me, I do a lot of coaching content on YouTube and amongst like other Discords and stuff. I'd say primarily I'm a support player, but I've been on a journey to try to learn every character in Rivals just because I feel like it's one thing to kind of know what they do, but another thing to really understand like what they're trying to do. I feel like I've actually learned a lot that way, but I'm happy to talk about Rivals, what I've learned this year, and get to know you guys a little better.
Yeah, nice. Almost done with all the unranked GMs in the game.
Almost
Every single one.
The light at the end of the tunnel. We're almost done.
Now it's
I'm
time
almost
for
free.
GM to Celestial, right?
Yeah,
on
well,
every
no,
single
it's time to
character.
get one above all. We're going all in.
He's going back on the main account.
I'm back on main.
And then Death. Yeah, tell the people a little bit about you.
Yeah, I'm Deathandgaming. I'm actually pretty new to the YouTube scene since Marvel Rivals came around. I made a bunch of videos in the beginning, educational stuff, simple, but mostly positioning things because I noticed that there was a problem in the community where everyone was focusing on aim trainers for hours every day, and I'm like, you just need to stand in better places and you'll win 90% more games. And that's kind of like how a lot of my videos started to pop off, and since then I just became sort of the educational Rivals YouTuber. And yeah, I'm a DPS main, Psylocke there, but I flex to playing Luna, Rocket, Cap, Emma, Meg. I like to understand how all roles work, same as I did in Overwatch. I played Overwatch for 8 years as a Tracer main. Played all roles to GM, and yeah, that was kind of, I was always held back by my mechanics, but my strategies were always like, understand the momentum, get your picks, play to live, play around the objective. You can win games a lot easier that way, and that's kind of what I was teaching people, and it kind of caught on. So
yeah, I actually saw your recent short that has been going viral, where you're like, this is how you stand against the Hawkeye. Like you were spectating a high ranked Luna player that was just like nonstop peeking a Hawkeye for like 4 fights, and then she just dies. She gets killed. Yeah, because he's got the crosshair in the same spot. He hasn't moved it, and he peeks her 4 times, or he peeks him 4 times, and then eventually dies. And he's like, "Yeah, can we switch off for the Peni?" I'm like, "Why did you?" He takes her full health. Why did you do that? Classic. Yeah, dude, classic.
So one of my favorite parts about this podcast is just being able to meet different people in the community. And you guys, so you both do educational content. You both try to kind of like pride yourself on like having an idea of like who's supposed to do what. So over this year that the game has been out now, you guys have played, especially you, Paz, a bunch of different characters. Where do you think the roles lie from like where they started, tank, DPS, healer, to where they are now? Like, do you think the roles have changed in power? Do you think like support has gotten better, worse? Where do we rank them 1, 2, 3 then and now? Paz, we'll go with you first, I guess.
I mean, I've always been a believer from the very start of this game, like especially from going from flex support in Overwatch to support in this game. Supports undoubtedly, at least I think at most ranks, have like at the start of the game, like above all, like the most important role. Like all you have to do is press your button right, and if you mess up your button, you mess up the ultimate economy for the entire game. And getting back from that is really bad. I mean, that's like, I have a lot to say about like how you can carry on different things as well. But like season 5, if we're talking about right now, if you are not playing Gambit, you are losing the game. He is 100% the most important character. He is a developer. He has made it so that support is by like the better Gambit wins, in my opinion, if Gambit's in the game. Maybe that's a little bit harsh. I mean, I'd have to play more on my main, but from what I've seen from pro play, from ranked, the first Gambit ult wins the game. So I definitely think supports.
We're definitely going to talk about Gambit. Before we
My
jump
fault,
into
my
that,
fault.
no, you're good. You're good. Like, say whatever's on your mind. But you said something interesting there. Was one messed up support ult messes up your entire team's ult economy? Can you be more specific? Because I think that's like really interesting. Like what do you mean by that?
Like, let's say for example, like you're up 2 in a fight and you're playing in like, I don't know, like plat. Like, because I coach a lot of players too. If you accidentally mess up and you rip like a cloak and dagger ultimate, you're giving the enemy team a very easy time to not just win one fight because they have 2 support ults now, but win another fight now with a free DPS ult. So if we're messing up the ult that like stops these, like that forces players to actually have good neutral and not just press one button, makes it a lot harder for us to make it back in a fight, especially at these lower elos where players might not have as good of like aim, neutral positioning.
Yeah.
You can take advantage of that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like forcing people to actually have good neutral by not just using your ult just for tempo, I guess, or like just like whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it could go a lot of different ways, but I just see like if you mess up a support ult, it just feels horrible for everyone, especially yourself.
Okay, so like ranking wise, you would say supports are stronger than now when they start?
I would say, yeah, I mean, it's crazy to say. I think supports were the strongest before, but now like with Gambit, supports are like crazy strong right now. They have so much potential. As far as the other two, I think like DPS and tank, I think in lower elos, like until you get to the top like 1%, maybe in like Celestial and Eternity, I think DPS is like the second most important. But when you get like to really high levels where all the DPS are kind of shooting, I feel like tanks that are good at actually setting up your off angles and like setting you up, the better tanks, like I feel like that is such a difficult role, but that also might be like maybe I'm not as good at tank as I am these other roles in this game. I think every role like has its strengths and weaknesses. I think supports are just really important, but then the higher you go, the space matters a lot more. Whereas in like, if I'm playing in gold and I'm on Hela, I'm just going to shoot everyone. Whereas in Celestial, maybe I have some like god tier Hela on the other team too. It slows me down a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. I would actually, it's interesting. I don't know. Like I find the easiest time I have winning games is usually when I'm playing tank. And it's because of the fact that I don't need to be super mechanically good. I just need to hold space and not die. If I hold space and not die and I give my DPS enough time, like if I can hold that convoy down, I know you've done this, Captain Coach, in one of our games. When you're playing a dive tank and you jump on that convoy and you got 3 people there and you're keeping that convoy from moving anywhere, you buy your team so much time to make mistakes and still come back in the fight, and the convoy's not moving anywhere. You're controlling the objective by not getting any kills at all. And by using that same sort of strategy, by just being like, I'm just going to stay alive as tank, I find it is like a lot of times has been the easiest to carry. And whereas like in that same sort of idea, like when I have good tanks as a DPS, I can pop off. And when I have tanks that are falling over the front line because they play too aggressive or they die too quickly, as a DPS, I can't do anything. And supports, dude, I played support all last season basically because no one wanted to play. I was solo healing as Rocket more often than I was not. And it was a miserable experience. Supports are super strong. And like you said, Paz, like if you mess up that ult, you lost the team fight. You just lost it entirely. And that's the part that sucks is there's so much emphasis put on the support ultimates that like when you mess that up, you really lose it for your team. But the thing is no one's going to play support because support can lose you the game, but it's not necessarily going to win you the game. You still need people to get kills. And the frustrating part about playing support is that you could sit there, be healing people, and you have DPS who like walk in and die 1v6 4 fights in a row. And you're like, okay, me and the tanks now have to buy time for this guy to come back a 5th time. Maybe on this 5th time that he comes back, then we can flip the fight around. But there's only so much healing you can do, but you can't stop them from having bad positioning. And that's the part that sucks because like you'll take the blame if you mess up an ult and you lose the game, but you'll get none of the credit if you win. And that's the part where like as a support, it was a super frustrating experience where I actually enjoy playing support a lot, but I'll refuse to do it now for certain players in high elo because the moment I see them, I'm like, I'd rather lose a game with this person again than play support for them. Like, there's no way. Like, it was the most miserable experience last season where I was like, I'm gonna get to my new peak, I'm gonna climb as high as I can, and I was like, I want to quit because of these DPS players. I'm done. Like, it was bad.
I kind of like the idea of ranking the roles, but my problem with ranking the roles is one, there's a lot of overlap, I think, between the roles. Like a lot of characters do similar things across roles. Like Thor is not that far away from a DPS, neither is it. Mantis isn't either. Like there's like a lot of like overlap. Like Mr. Fantastic's not that far away from a tank, and characters can play Like especially like brawl DPS can play like effectively like a tank in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
I think that there are like 8 characters that are just so far above every other character in the game that they might as well just be like ranked way above. And I think it's like Gambit Invis, clearly Gambit Invis. I think it's Side Daredevil. You could probably include Hell and Namor in there, but I think really Side Daredevil is like really the like crazy characters. And then for tank, it's actually I think it's 3 different characters. I think it's Cap, I think it's Magneto, and I actually think it's Angela. And then I would also put in like Venom and Penny off to the side, depending on the situation. Those characters are broken, especially Penny. We will talk about Penny later in this pod because she has the highest win rate in the entire game, and it's not even remotely close. If you look at the stats, I know that she's not played in every situation. Like there's pick and choose moments where she's played, but yeah, like these are like the raid boss characters that in my opinion are just so far above the other characters that yeah, I don't know. How do y'all feel about that meta? That top line meta. How do you feel? Do you agree with the best characters in the game? Do you think that it's okay that these characters are good? Do you want to see more buffs to the other characters? Like how in going into season 5, they just buffed everything. So what do y'all want to see kind of going forward here?
I mean, I agree with your list. I mean, the Thanos characters are it's Gambit, Invis, what is it? Gambit, Invis, Mag, Cap, Angela, which I know a lot of people are different about. I mean, I can explain why I think Angela's good. And then,
no,
like,
I think Angela's fucking broken. I'll die on this hill.
Yeah,
so it's like I will actually die. I will die on the Angela's broken hill.
I mean,
I actually think that character is giga busted.
I mean,
like,
I was talking to
insanely
Shocker. He plays for he used to play for Nemesis. I don't know like what their org is now. But like he was always talking to me like, dude, if Invis gets banned, like unless you have Angela, like you need to ban it. Like she is terrorizing lobbies in my games. Like she's insane. But in terms of like, do I think these characters should be good? I mean, it's a hero shooter. I feel like some kits are just they're just conceptually good. Like they can never be bad. Like if I look at Psylocke, for example, a character that is capable of being a dive hero but doesn't really have to hard engage ever, she's never going to be bad. Compared to someone like BP who has to always take that risk of possibly dying and dashing back and forth. Like she doesn't have to commit. She can mark. I mean, her ult's good. Like she's definitely strong. But like it's like Star-Lord too kind of has that issue too. But I feel like he also has some things that like holds him back a little bit as well. I mean, he's very good right now too. I think he's a sleeper pick. But it's like some characters I think are conceptually just going to be better than others. The thing is, it's like I used to really care about like what characters are good and bad. But the more I play these hero shooters and like I look at my mental health while I play these things as well, it's like I will just play what is good and I will do my best to enjoy it because I'm not a dev. It's not my job to really make the game like fun and enjoyable. But I mean, I would like to see characters like Hulk back. I feel like he's okay right now, but it's like it's kind of hard with some of the other stuff too. It's just like
Preach.
I don't think a character
My
like
mental
Hela
health
should
is
be
struggling.
like Hulk is fun. Like I love Hulk. I love playing against Hulk.
In
Let's
fact,
see more Hulk,
I forgot
please.
This is from our last pod. I gotta take this down.
Let's see it. Let's see it. But yeah.
5W. No more.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I would
Yeah,
like
I mean-
more variety for sure. But
And Coach, just speaking on Hulk really quickly, because I know Hulk's been struggling this season. It's just a really hard season to play Hulk. What do you think is the main cause of that compared to last season? Do you think is it Invis specifically, Gambit, just uptime, like not being able to utilize like the faster tempo of some of these ults? What do you think it is?
It's. I don't think it's anything meta related. I think it's just power creep, plain and simple. All the new characters are like. I mean, like I know Samito said like that he doesn't think the game has power creep in. That's one of the things when we had him on, I just totally disagreed with completely. I mean, like a perfect example, Hulk got a really nice buff this patch. Like he can get his ult charge really quick. He definitely has more windows to carry. Just can spamming that shield, and it opens up a couple like different like play styles you can do on him, where it's like you can be way more aggressive with like harassing the backline, kind of just going like in and out and stuff. It just doesn't matter at the end of the day. I don't do enough damage to really kill people. So, I mean, when you have an invisible woman just cycling through cooldowns easily, like a Gambit doing more damage than I am in half the games, and just obviously, like you said, Paz, just having those tools to just completely or death win or lose you a game. I like straight up, I just feel like I have to like play so well just to have a chance. And it's basically, in short, the gap between the best heroes and the worst heroes is bigger than it's ever been, in my opinion. That to me is power creep because the worst heroes keep getting buffs, you know. So,
I think that there's a lot of heroes where the game, like as it's kind of gone on and the way they've sort of like buffed and nerfed things, is that it incentivizes you to swap a lot more often in ways where before I think that there's like what I would call like soft counters versus like a hard counter, right? Like, taking a character into a matchup where you're getting countered should be one of those things where it's more difficult, but it's not impossible. Like, and they added some things to the game where, like Groot with his Ironwood wall, making it so that way like Wolverine can't kidnap him. These things are the things I like to see added to the game, where they're giving people who have bad matchups an extra tool in their toolkit. And I think that's what players want more than anything. They don't want balance. They want to feel like what they could do, or feel like they had the tools in their toolkit to be able to solve the problems in front of them. Because I remember when people were talking all about like the flyer meta and how bad it was. Like, I was learning magic for the first time in that season, which should have been the worst. But I was like, I'm just not feeling this whole quote unquote like flyer meta like everyone else is. And the win rates come out, and all the flyers have a lower win rate than all the dive heroes still. Like, they just kind of performed on average as everyone else. The player perception, though, matters far more than whether or not something is actually fair. And like me as a Psylocke main, I will say first and foremost right now, the Psylocke alt buff was bad for the game, like unhealthy. Because before, by putting damage into her neutral kit, if I was up against triple support, if I timed it just right, if I went for the right target, I could get a kill on triple support and give my team the advantage. And my ult was really crappy, but if I solo ulted a person at the right time, I could really control the momentum. It offered you a lot of really interesting ways to play your kit. And now it sucks because now instead of having these tools and these choices, now I just farm my ult really, really fast. And when Gambit ults, I hit Q and I just kill them through the ults. And there's no counterplay on the other end. There's no interesting dynamic, like interactive experience on my end. Like, that's just bad overall.
Much more boring gameplay loops. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
I think, and to speak to the power creep problem, I think something that they should do is, I like the idea of like let's take Invis's change now, where she can put a shield on her. I like that in theory, because in theory, what it does is it gives her dueling options, right? The problem is you give her just that, and that is just a massive buff to her sustainability, right? It's a massive buff to her survivability. So like, if you give characters options, I think there needs to be compensatory something done. Like, I think most players are cool if they have more options, but maybe like less power. Like, we don't need more options and more power. We need just more options, right? And so, like, take a character, give them more, versatile options, or maybe even a higher skill cap on a certain ability or whatever. Some type of reward for hitting a mechanic or whatever, and then you can reduce their power a little bit. Because I think that's kind of what happened to Invis. That's just why she's so strong. It's because they gave her more options, but they, in doing that, made her insane.
It feels great for her, but it doesn't feel good for anyone else. And that's my thing, is always like, it's not just like, oh, okay, like give more control to the player. It's like, okay, but what is the counterplay? That's what I always want to ask right afterwards. Like, what do we have when we're fighting against Invis? Is it obvious to us like what we should do in this scenario? Because a lot of times when she casts a shield on yourself, you're like, I just keep distracting her? Like, what do I do?
CC her, can't really dive her. Her heals are insane. Her ult's insane. Like, what do you do against a good Invis? You kind of just like pray that your DPS like put a healing reduce or something. Like, pray she's not paying attention. Yeah. My issue with the whole talk on power creep is I'm okay with stuff being really broken and overpowered, but I just feel like you said with the Psylocke ult, Gambit ult, like most games just come down to which Gambit knows how to ult better. Like, pretty much. That's 100%. One button. That's one button. That you can sit and heal bot and then just get good healing per second and then just know when to ult, and you could win most of your games that way. You don't even have to be good. You don't have to be good at the game. That's an issue. That's a big issue in my opinion for ranked.
There's a big problem. I know, like, I was trying to play Psylocke the old way, and I asked Tap, I was like, what am I doing wrong? I was like, what do you do with Psylocke now? He's like, oh, when Gambit ults you just ult too. And I was like, that's it? I was like, I just ulted the back line, we both support ults at the same time. Gambit ult, Psylocke ult, I pressed Q on their back line, I deleted their supports through it, and I was like, oh, this is really bad. Like, that's not that's not okay.
There's like layers to it, right? So you do like Gambit Star-Lord. Okay, what do we need? Okay, well, Emma's been an answer to Gambit Star-Lord. You do Emma, she CCs the Star-Lord, negates that effect and gives your team a chance. Or like Magneto with Gambit Peni. Or there's definitely like little wrinkles, but what we're finding is like the characters that are becoming meta to counter the meta have always still been meta. So
They've
it's
always
like
been meta. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah, not much has changed.
Conceptually they'll never be bad. unless
Yeah.
their numbers are like completely terrible. And like that's what I was trying to get at. It's like a character like Hela that can just 2-tap you across the map, no matter what patch. What are you gonna do? Like make her 3-tap across the map? She's never gonna get played.
Right.
And Phoenix is just the meta. It's like it's the same problem a game like Overwatch had. You had Bastion before. Like he's either OP or he's not.
And
like,
in order to make like a character like Black Panther meta, you would have to make him so strong in his engages that it offsets the downside of like when the engagements go wrong.
Yeah.
It's probably be a good time to, Paz, you had some strong opinions about Penny before we started. We went live, and I feel like she's probably a bit of an outlier.
Because you just did an unranked to G. You completed it, right? Unranked to Gym on Penny.
I did complete it.
And you did not have a fun time.
No, and a lot of the Penny players, I've actually gotten some DMs from some pretty good Penny players. And I'm like, I still hate your character, but respect that you're good at your character. Like, respect to you that you're, going and like enjoying yourself. But Penny is she's something else.
Okay, do you think the win rate is indicative of how good she is? First of all,
well, okay, win rates in general, I think like people have to understand like what a win rate is and like why. Because like for example, Magic used to have like a super high win rate too,
right?
But it's like these characters get played in very specific situations, and they're very good in their very specific situations. And when they're bad, people don't play them; they switch off of them. So the win rate looks like, oh, I played Penny first point defense and won a full hold. But then they'll just switch off on offense and they won't play it. Like, and I don't think we should be banning Penny. That's the first thing. Please stop banning Penny.
Please stop banning Penny. Low elo, please stop banning Penny.
Please.
Here's gonna be Penny. This is gonna be my argument for
fair.
why.
That's valid.
That's valid. Sometimes you can.
I'm gonna have a pretty anti-Penny argument. I don't necessarily think it's like I don't think Penny shouldn't exist in some way. I just think they need to rebalance the character's power level like way too much defensive capabilities. Because okay, so when you look at the win rates, right? When we think of like what's a high win rate across ranks, like you said in that Magic example, the highest she ever got was like 57%, 58%. That was the highest she got, and she's only being played in specific situations. That's why she had a high. She wasn't like super busted or anything. It's
you
just
could switch off.
You played those spots, and that's true. That's true with Penny too, right? She's only played on defense. She's only played on specific spots. Across ranks with the team up with Rocket, she has a 68% win rate.
It's 68.
Go look at the stats.
No way the player base is. Oh, we need to fix that.
And in Celestial, she's above 60%. It's like a 63, 64% in Celestial. And so like, here's my argument. Yes, she's only played on defense. Yes, she's only played on choke points. Is it okay to have a character that is played in a very specific section? Sure, but when they're fucking holding people first point. You're not capping points against this character.
Is it not just like low-key a skill issue sometimes? Like,
I mean, I agree though, but what's the acceptable? Like, I understand like Penny will never be played in like pro play because teams are not fucking. They're gonna tanks are gonna walk into the mines and bait them out for their team. They're gonna wrap around. They're gonna get an angle. They're gonna be effective.
I see what you're saying.
But in ranked play, no, they don't. It's like it's a character that feasts on just ranked chaos, and she always will. And I understand that she's only played in specific situations, but why do we have a character that is literally like on these spots, like she just feasts? And here's another problem I have with Penny. I think Penny is actually a really high skill ceiling character. I know Brandon Glitch. Shout out Brandon Glitch.
Glitch, my duo.
Yeah. He's insane at Penny, especially on attack. He does some crazy stuff. I think that character has a really high skill ceiling, and I think that they can preserve that high skill ceiling, change up some of the defensive tools on that character. The character is just fundamentally too in her spots. She's way too powerful, and then she's not good in those other spots. But like, if you just don't play her in those spots, she's just this like really broken thing that people can just whip out and like just win games for free. I don't like that. I think that's a dumb.
I can tell
design.
he didn't want to talk about Penny. He was just like,
I'm
what
down.
are we doing?
I'm
What
down.
are we doing, bro?
I'm so down to let loose on Penny.
I'm sorry. I got beef with Penny this pod, and beef with Angela. We'll get to the Angela beef later. But this is my big beef.
I think that the Penny players, like Brandon would agree with you, where they, a lot of times when they were buffing Penny, they were buffing what she was already good at, right? And it's just like they want other tools to be able to handle some of their problems, right? Because otherwise, when you make them just more defensive heavy, then they're really good at what they do. She has the Symmetra problem in Overwatch. Symmetra had a great win rate, but it was because you'd pick her for Li Jiang, and that's the one map where you could just TP to point and just lock it down, right? So, but then nobody would ever play Symmetra outside of that. So of course she'd have a great win rate, but that's not reflective of like what's the reality.
Right. Yeah, it's actually a perfect example, and that shit pissed me off back then too.
Yeah,
it was the same shit. It was the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
But here,
I liked it,
bro. But you could just put when it was they just went Torb Sem. They went Torb Sem defense back in Overwatch 1 or in the early days.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just got first point held because your fucking Tracer wouldn't swap off, and they're just completely useless.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm talking about. It happened a million times.
I used to abuse it.
Yeah.
My man said I went Sim. Well, that's the thing, Paz, is because you think about what works and you just adapt and play what works. There's people that will just they don't give a fuck about
a wall. Yeah.
They will just play whatever melee character into Penny and just lose for no reason.
Oh, it feels horrible.
Yeah,
Trust me, I'm aware. When I played Magic Bronze the Gym and I had to go against a Penny.
She does force you on like flyers are good into her. The flyers aren't really played too much, so it's. I do think a bit of it is willingness of the player base just to swap to what's needed.
Agreed. That 100%.
Whenever I see a Penny on Hulk, I'm like, okay, Magneto or Punny. I'm just gonna go one of those two. Those are characters I'm comfortable with.
I hate this. There's a lot of characters in the game that just feel super polarizing. Where if they're playing that character and they're playing it well, you just cannot play. At least like 20% of the roster. Absolutely not, or you just lose the game on the spot. And I think that they should really get away from that. I think that's one of the reasons why the flying meta felt bad is because there's a whole bunch of characters that didn't interact with flyers like at all. And that's one of the reasons they added so many grounding effects, Bucky ground and like Thing ground and Thor ground, because they wanted to kind of bridge that gap in the same way that they did with Groot with the wall, bridge the gap with the, the CC, the Bucky hooks and the Wolverine stuff. I feel like Penny is right there where, there's just, you have to swap or lose. She's like a swap or lose character, basically. Unless your main just happens to not be counted by her. I don't really think that design is great, and I would like to see like get rid of some of those defensive powers, increase maybe the ability to play her on attack, maybe give her some other tools. And I think Penny players would like that. If they have more tools, if the character plays in a different way, I think that would be kind of cool. You would have to dramatically reduce that defensive capability, but
but I think
just
that
feels kind of like the character to me feels like a gimmick, but it's like a gimmick that's gone too strong of a gimmick.
It's just too hard for the average player. Like the amount of passive health and shielding you get just over time is just you still have to do the mini game of kill her mines, and that's still possible. It's just way harder to do now. And I think that's kind of the crux of the issue. It's like, Penny has counterplay, and in like the top levels of play probably still won't be the best, but it's still it's harder for the average player, and that's really where most of the games take place with like people.
I can see where you're coming from.
And
this
makes
sense.
And sorry to yap a little too much, but you just reminded me of something. My other beef is with map design, because I think some of these choke points are psychotic. Some of these choke points.
Yes.
Dracula's Castle first defense.
That's a map design.
Eichenwald first was not even that round for that long. And they switched it. We need another lane.
I don't even remember what the symbiote map is, but it's the
Clintar.
one Penny DV
Symbiotic
defense.
surface.
I think
go right, but people don't know how to do that yet.
but like there should be more lanes. Like there should be 100% more lanes, and just more openness. I don't know why we're stuffing into a choke, like a tiny choke. In every map, it feels like we're just stuffing into this tiny choke.
I do want to say that, like, as someone who duos a lot with a Penny player, like, we get so much shit for playing Penny on offense all the time, no matter how successful we might be doing, that day. And everyone hates Penny when they're on their team, but nobody likes to go up against Penny. And it's crazy because, like, me as like a DPS player, like all my videos are always talking about how you need to enable your team, right? And for me, when I'm up against a Penny, I'll never ban a Penny because of the fact I'm like, I'm a DPS main. I have so many heroes to pick from that can solve the problem of the Penny. And so I'm not worried about a Penny. And a lot of times what happens is like, hey, we need someone to break the Penny mines. And the DPS are like, well, that's not my job. It's like, yeah, it is. Like, that is legitimately your job.
Not me.
It is so easy for you guys to do it.
I crash out once a week based off of what you're saying right now not happening.
Yes.
Literally.
Dude, I know it's going to happen at some point. Because like I've ranted to Mills about this a lot, but DPS players are fucking boosted. I'm sorry. Like,
oh my God.
They, as a DPS man, I would call them out right now.
It's been said.
All they do, because they're like, my job is only to dive the enemy backline. No, your job is to do damage. And sometimes that means destroying penny mines because you can get a better angle on it than anyone else. Sometimes that means peeling for your backline. Sometimes that means
I
diving.
think the Hulk should go destroy the mines. Get the Hulk.
Yeah. Can we get one of our tanks to like play one of the 2
switch
heroes?
off.
They'll tell me to switch. And be like, yeah, well, okay, let me just poke
It's not
him in
me
his
on
back.
magic. It's you, it's you, buddy.
This goes right back to the Hawkeye analogy, right? Where there's just like they peek the Hawkeye 4 times and die, and they're just like, yeah, can you switch for me? Dude, this is a you problem. Like, you can solve your own problem right now. But players in Rivals are so stubborn, and they just refuse to switch. They refuse to do anything, and the problems are easily solvable.
Well, the problem is some of those situations come up, I guess they're infrequent enough to where a player could never learn to adapt through those situations, and they could still climb. So, like, if you just win, like, let's just say that their whole mentality is just backline frag.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, the only time that doesn't
That's
work
how they think. That's how a lot of them
Yeah,
think.
yeah,
They
yeah.
won't swap.
But when they run into those situations, they don't think maybe I'm doing something wrong because it doesn't happen every game.
Yeah.
It's just when these problems arise, they
Yeah.
don't understand what these problems are.
There's multiple strategies. There's multiple strategies in order to win, and each game you come up with like a different problem. And there's players who are mechanically really good that climb by just diving the enemy backline better than the other guys does. And a lot of people can climb really high doing that. I am not that player. Mechanically, not that great. My accuracy, not that great. But I already know that like DPS players, like especially in high elo, are one, they have huge egos. So I can depend on them to try and take dumb fights. And 2, they're going to min-max, which makes them really predictable. So I look at the enemy team and I'm like, all right, well, there's a wolf, right? I'm not going to try and dive the enemy backline because they're going to do it better than I can. But I know that they have a wolf, and I'm going to look for him. I'm going to shoot the wolf so that way he doesn't get my tanks. And the moment that he dives out, I'm like, okay, I have 8 seconds now to go attack them. And that's my window of opportunity. By just understanding that, like, you know, the strategy of like, okay, what's my win condition this game? Like, okay, well, the wolf is shitting on my entire team, so my entire job the rest of the game is just to stop him from doing that. Or there's a Spidey that's attacking my backline. My job is just to do that. And as a DPS main, I have the largest tools in my toolkit with the heroes at my disposal to be able to solve the problems. That's the reason why I'm always harping
If you start a cult right now, I'll follow it. Whatever you want. Like, you got like a stream I can do anymore?
Do you think that the Rivals rank system encourages these bad behaviors though in a lot of ways? Because you don't get rewarded if you stall the card for 5 fights as cap, or you destroy every penny mine, or force out Loki totems, you don't get rewarded for any of that shit. Like at all. Like I remember there was a game on Venom that I stalled the card like almost indefinitely, and I baited out Loki totems like every single fight, and I ended the game like 8-8. And like I got like 16, 15.
15, 16 SR.
No, I know when I'm fucking feeding, and I was actually doing like so much that game, and it's just like it doesn't matter. It's on the stats,
and you'll get flamed harder by your teammates at the end of the game because
exactly they're gonna look at the stats. They're gonna look at the stats and be like, "Oh, you're 8-8," but it's just like you know what you did. Like
I hate it so much.
That's the reason why I say DPS players are boosted. It's like it incentivizes and it tells you if you do mindless damage, it doesn't even matter your deaths, and we all know this.
They all do that too.
Yeah, they all do it. It doesn't take into consideration death. So performance-based SR directly benefits people who do mindless damage and just run it down. But the people who are trying to play to live, they're trying to play around the objective, they're trying to stall it out. You get punished for peeling for your supports. You get punished for stalling. You get punished for doing all this stuff where like pulling attention and pulling resources because that's not seen as quote unquote good performance. But,
oh, dude, it's miserable. Like when I'm against a Psylocke, I know that their goal is just to farm ult charge off of me now. Like when I play Psylocke and Thing, those are my 2 most played. I know that that's what they're trying to do. So the way I play against them now is I constantly keep tabs of where they are and just play peekaboo the entire game. I just don't let them touch. So wherever they go, I try to like stop and chokes, but like I will never let them shoot me. And that to me is like, I had to play that defensively as a role that's supposed to be able to like take space. Like I have to just play like hit, but it works because it basically like pulls them like you said, pulls them into like bad fights. Mills, I think like a lot of the people who have watched this podcast, like former episodes of this podcast, who have like we've had people on and they've constantly said that like supports are boosted. So the fact that you're saying DPS are boosted as a DPS player, I think is like honestly pretty massive as a whole. And I'm gonna agree with you to an extent. Like I feel like they have the most options and they're the least likely to swap.
Like they definitely have great mechanics, but like there's more to this game than just we can hit heads, right? Like there's more to this game than we can like jam our Daredevil combo in the back line. There's just a lot of adaptations that need to be made. And like, hey, if you have a lot of damage and a lot of limbs, I don't have to swap. I'm not gonna swap off whatever I'm running it down. You know, like.
If
and
I
then there's
speak,
even
I'm in
people
big
that
trouble, bro.
I want to hear it, Paz. I want to hear it.
I think no. This is gonna piss off a lot of people.
We're having a lot of hot
I don't think
takes
supports are boosted. I don't think DPS are boosted. I don't even think. I think we're all boosted. I'm gonna keep it a buck.
Whoa.
I think we're all boosted. The stuff I've seen. No one has room to complain sometimes. All right. But I mean, I could go. There was a lot of things I could touch on with what you guys said. I mean, performance-based elo, but also why can I have a 43% win rate and just play 1,000 games and climb to the top 0.02% of players? How does this make sense? Why do I not need to have a 51% win rate to climb? And then we get to these players that like in performance elo that also factors into it. Like we're not playing to win the game anymore, because we can just get more elo by just shooting on Moon Knight. I get
swap
on
to
the
Moon Knight.
I was getting like 20 plus what I usually get when on the Peni one. I was getting like 50 a game in like plat. It's insane. I don't know. The big thing I have is I wish we could get to a system where my rank means something, and then I can just play to win the game. Like I can just play to break the nest, and like I will win more games, so I will climb more. But then again, I don't play on my main. It's my.
I think they did this in Valorant. I might be wrong. Jack can correct me if I'm wrong. But I think in Valorant, after you got to a certain rank, I think it was Immortal or maybe it was Diamond, there was no more performance gains. It was flat. It was flat plus and minus.
That would be so nice.
Like you got the performance gains, because the whole point of performance gains is to get people out of ranks that they clearly don't belong in, for one. And then for two, give you a little bit of compensation when, you played really well and then you didn't win. But when you get to the highest ranks, like finding out, like playing to win doesn't mean you have great stats all the time. You can play to win and have terrible stats. Like it doesn't fucking matter if I'm farming their team as Black Panther. If my team needs Peel to stop the Wolf, like you said, then I can play a subpar Bucky or a subpar Namor, and I'm doing more than fucking running it down on BP.
How bad is it? Like are we saying it's like DPS are getting like 26 a win in Celestial, like Eternity level?
So it goes down with time. How the performance works is in the lower ranks, the performance is a massive chunk. Okay. And then it goes down as you get to the highest rank. Yeah. My argument is that once we get into a certain rank, it should be completely gone. Maybe there's small plus. You could do small plus and minuses. Like I'm talking like 1 or 2 points. If for some reason you're like a fucking low Celestial player in an Eternity lobby, and then you like still win that game, you can get a little bit more for that, because you're like a fish out of water and you still won the game. That's cool. You weren't a liability. But you shouldn't get it for ace, MVP, none of that shit, because like if a tank is creating space for you so you can pop off, or a support is enabling you, or your tank is spending the whole game peeling for you as a support so you don't die and feed, those things are not in the fucking stats. They're just not in the stats.
If you pull out a support ult as a tank and then you get out alive and your team kites back and your Star-Lord goes in and ults for free, the Star-Lord gets an extra fucking 3 SR at the end of the game. But it's like he wouldn't have won if we didn't fucking go in there and take out the support ult early. Like that's why I always say like there's so many other factors that go into what wins a game, that it's not just about the stats. And sometimes your stats aren't fully reflecting like what you're doing in the game, which is why I hate when people are just like, oh, why didn't the tank have enough finals at the end of the game? It's like, because it's not their job. Like that's like a healer bragging about how much heals they have. That's what you do, right? But that's
I'm gonna give everybody a little secret here on how to win as tank right now.
I'm listening.
And it's exactly what you guys are talking about here with like performance points and stuff. I'll go in, force an ult with my ult and get out there, whatever. That's kind of my strategy now on Hulk, is to just ults, literally stand in front of my healers, let the enemy team shoot me, let my healers heal me, and just feed them ult charge. Like like a fucking big gulp. Just take that shit. Like it's all you. Go. Drink. Up. Yep. The charge goes up and we just get our ults quicker. I just tell them, I'm like, go now, Gambit ult.
Ultimately.
And that's how that's because supports are so good that that's like the only way I can win is by buffing I'm basically supporting my supports. It's like how I play right now, and it's kind of working. It's kind of working.
A little while ago, we had a not controversial figure called Samito on the pod, and he said that Ultimates was too strong, that there was not enough neutral in this game. And I think most people agreed. Like, there's just too many ultimates go all around. We should probably like reduce the ult charge or the power level or the duration or whatever the case may be. I feel that with the introduction of Gambit, we have even further pushed ourselves away from a neutral. Neutral does not fucking exist anymore.
No.
When you have an unkiteable ultimate that builds other ults. That's
Neutral
literally
exists for
what it
two
does.
players. The guy on Gambit on one team and the guy on Gambit on the other team. And that's why I like playing Gambit. I love playing Gambit, but playing against that guy, I'm like, oh, I really hope I have the better one.
Because it's crazy because he's just using it to build up everyone else's ult on the team. And like that's just it to me that's just so insane. Like I think that also the fact that it's unkiteable, like you can't run away from it, like you're never gonna be able to leave it because everyone's just too fast.
Yep.
But on the flip side, I think Gambit ult is really fun to play with. Like it's more fun to like be able to run it down if I'm on any other character with a Gambit ult than like sitting in an Invisible. Like that's kind of boring.
Yeah.
So like I'm kind of conflicted there, but I do think that it probably breaches that threshold of too strong, especially like when we talk about like Gambit triple support. I think is really really strong, especially if you're like I think Loki Mantis Gambit is insane actually, like super insane.
It's not
you just
fun.
get to Gambit, Loki Gambit, Mantis. The two Gambit ults built the other ults, so you're just gonna Gambit again. It's like this was fucking
Well, the
like
Gambit
there's just like a
ult
lot of like nonsense.
does everything. I think you should pick based off of what ability you just use or like what cards you just use, however that mechanic works. That would determine what type of ultimate you get. So you have more choices, and it like kind of lowers his power level. So you can have like a damage ult, you could have a CC break ult where everyone's like you may break them out and they're CC immune while they're running. Like maybe you get like 2 out of the 3 or like because.
I actually like that. Like you get everyone gets to be faster, everyone gets to be stronger, everyone gets to be more survivable for a little bit. You know, that's cool.
And that's adding more tools to the toolkit. Like that just makes players.
That's what you're saying. Is you pick
basically
you pop ult and then you pick a card, right? Is what you're saying.
When you think about like what makes a character OP, you got to look at them in terms of like the breadth of like what they can do, which Gambit's that's very wide, and then the depth, like how good are they at each thing. And Gambit's like really like he just does everything at a high level, right? So like naturally a character like that's going to be OP. So what you got to look at is like, okay, how do we take away some of like the innate just like raw power that he has and spread it out?
So I think that they did this on purpose, though. Like, I actually wouldn't be surprised if they end up nerfing Gambit. And the reason is because if, like, I agree with you, when you give a character a million options and a million things to do, each one of those things needs to be weak, right? Because they just get
100%.
to do everything.
What's his identity as a hero?
But
just being OP.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
It's
but
just
the
being OP.
problem is when a character first releases, people don't know how to balance all those options. So if you make them all weak, the initial impression is like, hey, this character kind of sucks. Until people figure him out. Now that people have figured him out, I think that they probably will nerf him. Most likely. That's what I'm thinking anyway. Like they start him off overtuned, and then they reel back the power of those things. I don't know exactly what they do there, but
I mean,
they don't want another Blade situation.
I was literally about to say. I was interested to hear your
that's
thoughts
why
on
I think
Blade.
they released
Exactly.
it.
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
And I think they also buffed everything because they were like, we know Gambit's going to be busted, but we don't want him to be released weak. We're gonna release them busted, but then we're gonna buff a whole bunch of other stuff too. That's what they, in my opinion, I think that's what they were kind of thinking.
And to be fair, like for those who don't know, I've been a 3D artist in the game industry for a really long time. So like I see behind the scenes, a lot of times people are like, "Why did the devs not know this? Why did they not understand?" It's like because their internal play tests are gonna be like 100 people, maybe a few hundred if it's like within like other studios, like. And the players that are there are, you know, it's just like everywhere else. Like there's only going to be like 1 or 2% of the people that are actually really good in the office. So they're not going to understand what's going to happen. So they put a character out and they don't know if it's going to be super OP or if it's going to be super weak. Like, you know, they kind of just have to throw it out there. Because even then, sometimes you have this idea where people are like, oh, like when the game launched, people were like, Wolverine is such a terrible hero, right? And then how long did it take before people were like, oh, we have to permaban this dude every game because he just destroys everyone, right? Like part of it is player perception and figuring out and understanding, oh, these characters actually aren't weak. We just didn't understand how they worked before. So I think that's
how
it.
much do you think a player being OP on release is like the marketing guys coming into the hero development room and being like, we got some pretty good skins coming for this guy. Why don't you release him a little on the strong side?
I think people put a little too much into the idea that like the devs have some sort of like secret agenda. They're not. They can't see that far ahead.
That's
like
me
a lot
taking
of
off my
times,
tinfoil hat.
I think Spider-Man kind of breaks it, unfortunately.
Yeah,
the
they
theory.
will- I
Because
will say that they would
Spider-Man has
probably
like
have it.
so many skins, but that character has been consistently ass. Like,
Yeah.
if they want to sell a lot of skins, they need to buff the hell out of Spider-Man.
Spider-Man
next-
players will just never stop playing Spider-Man, and they'll just keep buying the skins.
Maybe
But,
they
like,
got you hook, line, and sinker. They know.
Yeah. I'm sure that they would probably always rather have it be a little bit too strong and tone it back than have it be weak, because weak and underwhelming. They had that like with Blade, like Torch on release wasn't played a lot. I don't think. And then Mr. Fantastic was also kind of like that way. So it's just like when we get like Gambit, where he's like slightly overtuned, like is he strong? Yeah, but I actually don't mind fighting with or against Gambit nearly as much or nearly as bad as fighting against like a broken Torch or something, right? So there's always going to be like some push and pull. But I will say that after this whole year, comparison to like where we were in the beginning, like season 5 has a lot more hero varieties in all of our games than in the earlier seasons, where it was like you have to play these heroes. These are the heroes you have to play and nothing else. And people would flip if you weren't playing like the meta. So I will say that like, there's definitely some things that I disagree with what NetEase has done in sort of like their balance and design to choices. But there's also been a lot of good stuff too. And, I think that they are kind of figuring that out. And at the very least, they're willing to make a lot of big changes. Coming from Overwatch for 8 years, where like we just didn't get stuff for a really long time, like I'm grateful that occasionally like each patch or each season, I'm like, it feels different. So I'll take that.
Yeah, I hope we see another massive buff across the board in 5.5 for a whole bunch of characters that kind of got left behind.
You're saying
I
that
know
because you're a
Paz
Thor
is gonna be
player.
like,
You're
no.
saying that because you're a Thor
Yeah,
player.
I'm
I
saying
get
that's
it.
a fucking Thor
I
player.
get it. Yeah.
Thor. Yeah, let's go. Come on. Let me. Bro, Thor, I think Thor, in 4.5, I actually put Thor in A tier because I thought he actually caught up in ranked, not in like extra high elo and not in pro play
He
ever.
wasn't terrible.
But I thought he was okay. And then they just
Right.
buffed fucking everything and the character's trash
Characters
again. Like,
that are
like-
designed to take damage, like as their core, like brawling, they're gonna suffer. They're gonna be the first ones to feel the power creep. They're gonna be the first ones to be like, "Yo, this is way too much damage I'm taking."
They reverted Wolverine's, like, he's basically like prime Wolverine now, like basically because they reverted his leap cooldown and all that stuff. They should just do that with Thor's survivability because he gained like 100 per dash and then they downed it to 75 and. Let's just revert that. Is he really gonna be meta if they did that? They could do a pretty substantial buff to Thor. We've never been in a Thor meta. Like,
I think he would.
Can we just like?
I think
you
he
think
would.
so?
Yeah.
I think that
would.
we can. I think there's a world where like there's a lot of characters I think that haven't been meta.
it's
Like
just-
let's buff them. Let's just see what. If you go too far, I mean,
always
Sonic's been
pull back.
fucking meta for like a
Thor
million seasons,
propaganda.
bro.
You gotta consider
Thor
it's
propaganda.
Okay.
They bounce
yeah,
around
I mean-
console though too. You got to remember. We talked about that a
Oh.
little bit last week. I don't know how much time we're going to spend on it this time, but like obviously there's
Yeah.
there's two different metas going on.
I mean, that's true. Thor is going to be better on console, going to be better in low elo too.
And I
like
do,
the character.
yeah, I do think
Yeah.
they cater to that a little bit with some. Of the
But why then?
placements.
Okay, then why are they buffing Penny? Like, wait. This doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
because Penny has. I did my unranked to Celestial on console. Penny was a fucking demon on console. I'm telling you, that was before the recent buffs. So I don't really get. I don't really know console players. Y'all can let us know in the comments down below. How's Penny?
Yeah,
How's
no,
Penny
if-
going for y'all?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna cut
how's
that.
that
I'm gonna
going?
stop that right there. If we spend 30 minutes talking on a season 5 podcast about Penny, I might actually just.
Okay, yeah.
might just
No,
quit.
no, that's the entire. I'm just gonna say, Dear Netties. That's the title of this podcast, Dear Netties. But okay, so you did talk about it a little bit, Death. I want to hear from each of y'all. How do you feel about the whole year? Because we're at the anniversary of Rivals. It's been out for a year. Y'all been making content, streaming for a year. Let's start off with you, Death. How do you feel about collectively the entire thing? Like, and what are you looking forward to the future, or what would you like to see in the future? Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I actually overall I think that the game has made steady improvements. There are some things that need work. The matchmaking I always think was a problem due to the fact that ranks were meaningless or didn't hold a consistent meaning, which is why matchmaking was so difficult. I think that with placements, they're going to like gradually like hopefully improve over time. I think that in terms of not seeing Loki Luna in every single one of my games is a sign of improvement. Like, the fact that they're willing to make a lot of big changes over the year has given me some hope, at least, to see where they go. Because I'd rather have a company willing to test and willing to try things than a company that's just like plays it so safe we just never see any changes at all. And overall, I've been enjoying the game a lot, and I enjoy all of the roles, and despite the fact that my heroes that I play, sometimes they're strong, sometimes they're weak. It doesn't matter. I play what's fun more than anything, and I just kind of try to find ways to make it work. And I've overall been enjoying the game a lot. My biggest issue with Rivals isn't anything with the game or even the balance or the matchmaking. It's the players. Like, the players have such a weak mental and give up at the slightest sign of a difficult fight, even in high elo games. And to me, I've made it a point to where, like, I like to try and show that how many games people want to surrender after like the first round. And I make it a point to show that I win majority of those games. Like, if players would just stop being toxic and stop giving up and stop wanting to be quick to surrender and just play the game, like, the Rivals would be a lot better. And I think that if they went a little bit harder on like, some of the ban system, like, I encountered a dude last night where he threw my game after 9 wins. He threw my game, whatever. It was a loss. I had him on the void the rest of the night. Saw him again on the enemy team like 7 games later. He threw the game again. It's just like, why is this guy who's making this a pattern able to do this all the time? Like, people like that need to be like not banned for 15 minutes. They need like a week-long ban. Like, switching to Widow halfway through and just not playing the game. Like, I think that NetEase could do better in terms of just like really improving the player base that way. But otherwise, in terms of like the game, I think it's still fun for 99.9 percent of players. Like, so I still enjoy it. I'm still having fun. But yeah, I know I'm not super doom and gloom.
There's a guy that chronically stream snipe and throws Captain Coach's games, and he has not been banned permanently ever, and he does it publicly. He'll even say it, like,
You don't even
they
try
don't
to
care.
hide it.
And somehow
Yeah.
they keep giving they
Miserable.
keep giving us messages about being, they're gonna mute us or whatever. I don't understand what
I
the
get
automated
chat muted
detection
all the
thing.
time. There's multiple people who do that. Yeah, the moderation for the game is just like
Oh yeah.
It's an auto mod thing, right? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
said
even-
it's one of the biggest.
Has that happened to you,
weaknesses.
I mean, personally, I just have voice chat turned off because
Oh,
no one
okay.
says anything good anyway.
Well, I was calming. Hello was ulting, and I calmed. Kill that bitch! Let's go! And I'm like giving calls to my
Which is-
team, and they fucking muted me mid game.
Yeah.
They muted me mid game,
The
and I was
system
like,
auto detects the
"What?"
word bitch. I know because I'm positive in all my comms, but I realize that I say, oh, get that bitch. And it's like, hey, we've detected that you've used a hateful language, and I've been chat muted. I'm the person who's always like, hey guys, like, we can still win this. Like,
I've heard way
and I
worse,
got
by the
chat
way.
muted.
They don't
Yeah,
get
but
banned.
someone can say like, "I hope you drown," and they're good. Like, they can just say some
Yeah.
crazy shit, but it's,
On a
as long as they don't say
regular basis.
"bitch," then they're fine. All right,
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh, but okay, Paz, how do you feel about year review and
Man,
things to look
that's-
forward to? What do
So
you think?
yeah, I mean, I would touch on toxicity and like community sentiment, but at the same time, like, for me, the day that I just decided, guys, when was the last time someone gave me a good comm chat? Why don't I just turn this off and turn off chat? Life was roses. It was great. I didn't have someone in my why didn't you alt this? Why there's so many things that you could have done better as well, but I don't have to engage, which, I mean, that makes my life better. It sucks that in a team game I have to do that. But again, I mean, I engage with the game in a very different way than you guys do. I mean, for the whole year, I mean, Mills, I was very critical of this game at the very start, and I still am. And I still have a lot of problems with this game, but I would say now I enjoy the game. With Season 5 coming out, I've said a lot, like, wow, I actually enjoy this game a lot more than I did. I think that, like, this game will never be this, like, super hardcore competitive hero swapping, everyone's, like, doing all this stuff game. Like, I just don't think that's what this game is. And, like, when I accepted that, I started to enjoy the game a lot more and just enjoyed it. And I engaged with it in the way that it was meant to be engaged with. And I think that's why I'm starting to engage with the game more. Like, I could complain all day. Yes, the maps, I don't think the map design is great. I can still enjoy playing Gambit and just, like, being a dev admin sometimes. I could complain that Gambit on the other team is just completely destroying me, and I could keep playing my favorite character, or I could be like, if I'm not enjoying my favorite character, maybe I just join them and, like, I engage with the game better that way, and it's just more fun. The other thing too is, now that I'm getting older and I have more time, like, if I want to just have a casual experience, Marvel Rivals is delivering that for me right now. If I want to, like, hard grind something and be super competitive, Deadlock around the corner is that. If you want to play that game casually,
Yeah.
you will hate yourself. But, like, there's other games now in the market too, where there's, like, so many different niches. And I'm so happy that now we finally have this game that can just be like, you can take it seriously if you want. I mean, you can take any casual game seriously, but, like, it is just fun at the end of the day. to play your favorite superhero, and like I can enjoy that at like a low level, and it's fine. I mean, I do think there's a lot of things that could be changed, but like I'm not a big enough like voice in the community that could really change anything, to be honest. So I'm just gonna enjoy it the best way I can.
You're on Clear Comms podcast. Damn right you can.
Oh, I mean, if I were to change a lot of things, I mean,
Who we deleting? Who we deleting for the game? Be honest. What character? Who we deleting?
There's so many issues though that like the game's cooked like in that regard. So I just enjoy it. Like even with neutral and everything that we could talk about. If you want to have more neutral in this game, what is the neutral? I don't know what the neutral is. You'd have to change the whole.
I feel like
idea
only
of the
Hella
game.
gets the neutral. She's the only character in the fucking
It's like
game that gets the neutral.
there's
It's
a lot of
Hella.
problems,
It's just
right?
Hella. That's it.
There's a lot of problems I could complain about, but they're never going to change because Marvel Rivals is Marvel Rivals, and I'm going to enjoy it for what it is. And I'm not going to lie, I enjoy it for what it is, and I have a much easier time doing that now than I did a year ago when I first started playing. And I think that's good for me.
I've been seeing a lot of players, like I think Light just put out a video where he's talking about the state of the game and he's really down on the game as a Spider-Man player and a Melee player. And I think that a lot of players that kind of see the game and they want it to be something better. I think Samita's the same way. They want it to be something better. They want it to change in the way that they imagine, and then they'd be happy with it. Like you can be like that and think about the game that way, but I think you're just gonna be unhappy for a long time.
It's not what the game
if you
is.
if you just accept the game for what it is and try to enjoy it for what it is, I 100%. I think that's the better mentality to have, and you're gonna have a much better time. And if
I've seen Light on Deadlock, by the way, and he loves that. He loves it.
And if you get burnt out of the game, just take a break. Play some. There's a
Exactly.
lot of other games.
There's so
I've
many
been
games
playing some Arc Raiders lately.
I've seen you on your
shit's
grind.
fun.
And I
That shit's
respect
fun.
it. It's fun.
That's just fun. But the you don't. Not every game that you play needs to necessarily like morph into something completely different. I do think that the consistent delivering of characters is just something
So
to be absolutely commended. No other game has ever fucking done this. That is like a AAA title, like a real title, like a. Now I'm not talking about like a mobile game or anything like that, but like no real competitive multiplayer game has ever delivered consistent content at this scale.
That works, by the way. Day one, the servers don't blow up. I can play the character.
Like
I can play the game.
they made fucking Gambit in a month. I mean, like they released him in but they just released a character. Like that's insane. That character is insane. I mean, he feels like they just did Daredevil. That character feels it's sick. The voice acting was sick. Like I just think they are delivering on if you upset the game for what it is, they are delivering. I will say though that toxicity and stuff like that, like normally doesn't get to me. I normally play in the mornings. I normally play like Monday through Thursday in the mornings, and I think game quality is really great. Maybe it's because people are in school or whatever. If you play in the mornings, it's great. I decided to play a couple games with Cap and a couple of games with Death over the Thanksgiving break.
Yeah.
And
horrible. Actually,
I played 10 games, and like at least 4 of them were literally over before the game started. And then I played on stream the other day, and it felt like most of the games that I won were games I won. I didn't do anything. It was like they self-destructed because someone just started crying and they were typing to everybody, and then vice versa. Yeah. It's like I think that there needs to be more games that actually matter. Like I just think that there needs to be more games that actually matter.
I'd like to step in here. So I think a big reason you're seeing not only the game quality individually seem to maybe go down a little bit, but more, is it the players or like how hard the game is versus like how the community acts? I don't think the game really sets their community up to succeed from like a behavior standpoint. Because if you have these broken characters, right, I think the game is more imbalanced than it has ever been. Like I don't even think it's close. So if you have these tools for people through their like pretty flimsy rank system to be able to just climb up to any rank easily, they're going to be in a rank where they probably don't belong. And if everything's broken and anyone can like just abuse something, I think you're going to get a lot of this just like really, really just win or lose type game. Like if they don't get what they play, you're probably just going to lose because they abuse whatever Gambit or whoever to get to that rank. So you're going to have a lot of this like people being the rank system is going to be too chaotic if the game doesn't have a certain level of balance to it. I think the game is not in a good spot right now. That's my opinion on it. I still think it's fun, and I'm unfortunately having to starting to take more of like a casual mindset like you guys because it just sucks. Like I just feel like I don't have the same amount of impact to like affect the outcome of a game as other people do. I don't
blame you. I don't blame you either with like my takes of like, oh, I enjoy the game more casually. Like because I used to be a player like that would take it super seriously, and then like with Overwatch, and then like it just got so exhausting. And like they should do better. I'm not saying they shouldn't as well. Like I do definitely agree with you as well. Like I don't want to I want to make sure that like when I say like, oh, I'm enjoying it, just because other people aren't, like I still agree with you. Like there's
valid
be change.
criticisms.
Yeah.
It's fun. I enjoy playing the game. It's just like I wish it was just a little more balanced. Just a little bit more.
It's a little tricky, I think, because so when I think of like balanced standards or like there's like a relationship between like competitive, how competitive a game is, and like the balance level. I think Rivals is kind of all in on just like trying to stimulate you and be as fun and dynamic and different as possible, and there's like no balance is like a complete afterthought. But then like when I think of games that are like more hyper balanced, like I think Valorant is far more on the other side of the spectrum, where it's like much more hyper competitive. At least historically, it's been much more hyper competitive. I do think that there is a bit of staleness that can happen when the game's too hyper competitive. Like because what they could have done is instead of doing these big dramatic changes, they could have slowly nickel and dime shifted characters, right? And like we eventually get into a state where there's a lot of characters that are viable and things feel more balanced, but is that interesting? Is that fun?
Yeah.
And also, is it even possible to make the game stay in a balanced state when you're adding a new character every single month? Like it's the character either doesn't matter and it's irrelevant, and then it does, then it doesn't affect anything, or it's fucking super broken and it messes up everything. Like it's one of the two, right? And I honestly think that it's just hard. I just think it's hard. I think that their solution for like the pro scene and stuff like that is that's why there's all these so much bans and like the pick and ban stuff. I honestly think that I would enjoy this game a lot more, and what I want to do going forward is actually play a lot more coordinated games, like go play in tournaments and do MRC.
100%.
And I think that that's something we probably should all do more, because I think it's just a much more fun way to enjoy this game. I think if you're gonna take it seriously playing the characters you want to play, everyone's working together, communicating. I think that's all good.
When I'm playing like in high elo games, like it was like last season, I had a positive win rate the entire way through, and I could have kept playing, and I did want to like reach new peaks, but like I said, like because like high elo games, you get like the certain toxic people where I've learned now at certain times of the day, if I bump into someone, I'm just hopping off the rest of the night because I just don't want to bump into them again. Like it's just not worth it. And like but when you get those games in high elo where people are calming, it's a close game, you're going back and forth, everyone's fighting real well, and like you lose, but it was a close ass game. That was a fun game, and those games are great, especially in high elo where everyone is on top of what they're doing, and it's just a good game all around. But then you have those other games where people are just super toxic. You're just trying to focus, and it's just miserable. So it's very like it's polarizing. Whereas I've got friends who aren't as good as the game, or aren't as good at the game as I am, and I'll do it with them, and it's harder to climb up in ranked. But I would rather play with my friends and lose in low elo than play in high elo with players that I'm used to, because of the fact that some people can just sort of like make the experience miserable. Because I really do believe that the game can and is fun. It's just sort of like I think Marvel Rivals especially, there's a lot more team coordination and work that's needed, especially with like how high sustain is, and with how powerful certain ultimates are to combine. Like there is definitely an emphasis on how you should work together with your team, but there are a lot of players who are too selfish and have too big egos that won't allow them to do that. And that's the part where it just conflicts with like it's how fun it can get as you climb higher.
It's criminal that there's not at least like 3 or 4 stack in Celestial Plus. I can't believe they did that, honestly. I think that was one of the worst changes to the game.
If I had at least 3 stack in Celestial, at least that would make it a little better. I can understand maybe you get to Eternity, then you can lower it down to duo or something. But the fact that like I can only like duo with one other person, so that way I know like okay, like 2 of us aren't going to be miserable in this game, but there's still 4 chances there that I'm not comfortable with.
I think for a fun, especially when the game isn't trying to be ultra competitive, I think they could probably allow 3 stacks in Celestial. I do remember back in Overwatch, it was a big deal when there was like the number 1 pro team was
OWL
in the 3 stacks.
I'm with my tier 3 boys. But those games were still sick, by the way. I was never complaining.
But that's cool. Like, those are more higher quality games.
Yeah.
You might be getting shit on, but they're higher. Like, that's kind of like when
you
played
win
MRC,
though with the East Coast stack. You got Silvok on tour. You got someone on Sim, and you just beat an Overwatch League stack. That was the peak
That's fun.
experience.
Yeah, and I think like in MRC when you go up against like a semi-pro team or a pro team,
Yeah.
like that's like that you lose, but it's fun. Like it's I think it's a good learning experience too. I think that
It also, so you have your 3 people in the game. The 3 that are randos, a lot of times they'll tend to lock in, like it just with a more stable team environment and people like calming and like if you're serious about trying to like do your strategies, the randos you have are going to generally try to do them too. So the game quality goes up like way more than it should. It's so much nicer.
I think the games where there's 2 people actually calming about what's going on versus the games where either no one talks or the only thing that people say is negative are just like night and day games. Like they're just completely different.
It's very, very different.
Oh, yeah. Entire characters, like heroes, are become viable.
But for some reason, when I fucking give comms in a game, I'm being punished for saying bitch. I'm gonna stop talking about it. But like, why not encourage?
You're being a little bitch, Coach Mills.
Yeah, I know. Fuck. It's muted. I muted you. Auto muted. But, dude, I think that maybe some like let them vote for shot caller, bro. Give people some type of benefit for communicating more. I don't know.
There's definitely a power to like, you know, how important shot calling is. And I say this as someone when I was playing strategist last season, strategist support players make the best shot callers because you see everything and you're able to sort of also track the ultimates better. You're communicating to your other support, like who's going to ult first. Like communication as you climb through the ranks is so important and it makes it such a dynamic, like, difference there. So a lot of times people are like, oh, well, support's the easiest role in the game because like mechanically it's easier to heal than it is to do damage, which is true, but that's not all that they do. Like I have always said that like strategists make the best shot callers because if you have good game sense, if you have good game sense and you can say, hey, back up, stabilize, we're all critical, okay, push back in, oh, there's somebody over there on the left, like that's a skill that should be encouraged. But a lot of times like I said, I was about to quit after playing support because I get harassed where I'm like, hey, we're down by 2. Everyone back up and stabilize. And my Bucky decides to go in, dies, and then spam pings me for heals after he's dead. And I'm like, I was getting dove by 2 people and I was reloading. Like, that one's on you. And I see another ping. I'm like, I'm muting your pings. You're done.
No,
like,
you're not side page, GG.
Yeah.
No
I'm
heals.
like, I'm not dealing with this anymore. Like, that's why I always tell even like the people in my community, like, just focus on the game, right? Like, focus on the game. People make mistakes. We all mess up. Just focus on the game. What you need to do next. Okay, you guys made a mistake. Whatever. Move on to the next one. What do you need to do? Okay.
Yep.
Group up. DPS take your angles. Tank hold space. Like just focus on the game because it gets a lot more fun that way. And when you have those games where everyone's calming and everyone's trying, like it is a great experience. And that's the reason why I love playing Marvel Rivals. But yeah, there's definitely just some like real high highs, but real low lows with the game as well. But also, I did want to say, to the credit of the devs, being able to implement as many heroes as they do and shift up things as they do, like, is super impressive. Knowing how much work behind the scenes goes into these things, like they do a phenomenal job at giving us a lot of content that might not be perfect looking all the time or perfect on its release, but it does make the game really fun. Like I really like the zombie stuff.
Is that a real vibranium shield to your right there?
Yeah, that one's solid metal. Yeah. Cap is my favorite Marvel hero.
I was gonna say you kind of remind me of him a little bit with how you're talking about. Like, oh, I want everyone to be nice, and people need to like go in.
Like I understand. And I tell people, I'm like, listen, there's times where I crash out at my desk all the time, but I just don't say anything. Like I keep myself muted. I keep it to myself. Like I get frustrated too at my teammates all the time. Yeah. But it doesn't help.
Captain Coach, I know people say that you and I are like 2 sides of a different coin. Like you're the crash out, I'm the calm. Death is actually your opposite. Like y'all are actually opposites. I'm not actually your opposite. He's definitely your opposite.
I've literally agreed with every single thing you have said so far today. Like, there's no one who I feel like has a more similar view of the game than you do to me. Like everything you've said is just like hitting home for me, like 100%.
Well, that's
so
why
you think
I
we're
remember.
Opposites?
Well, I'm just saying as far as like hot and cold, like fire and ice,
sure.
Like crash out and not crash out, like
cool,
like you're the devil on his shoulder, you know. When he doesn't flame, but you would flame, you know. But okay, so we're gonna wrap things up, but I want to get real quick. Y'all can just kind of spit it out. One thing you want from the game for the next year, just one major thing, one big change, anything you want, new character. It could be anything. What do y'all want? So just
I can go first to give you guys a little time to think. Dude, 18 versus 18 mode. big W. It's a shame we didn't get to talk about it too much, but I actually really like the 18 versus. It's
I haven't
really
actually
fun.
tried it yet. But
I haven't tried it either.
But if you're trying to run Captain Coach community versus Coach Mills community, 18
I'm
versus 18,
so
let's fucking
down,
go.
actually. Like, that's an
That
insane
actually
idea.
sounds-
Let's
actually
set that
sounds
up.
Wait, we actually should.
We'll get all everybody involved. Let's do this.
That
Like,
actually would be super
That's a
fun.
great idea. No. So I've been at the start. It's a great warm up on Hulk, right? At the start of every stream now. Instant queue.
It's a good idea,
fi-
actually.
You get in. It's 5 minutes. It's such constant fighting. You get put in all these different situations. It's great practice. Like positioning, finding your healers. It's chaotic. It's. I've gotten really good at it, and I got an MVP top damage as Hulk in it, bro. As Hulk.
Let's go.
MVP
different. That's
top
tough.
damage as Hulk with 36 people.
Yeah.
So it's like it's fun. It's really good.
Beating a
practice.
Moon Knight.
Yeah,
In 18
yeah,
Moon Knight
yeah.
is crazy.
There's no jokes for him to
it's-
spam, man. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
YouTube Captain Coach video coming soon. You know,
Yeah,
but,
let's go.
All right.
yeah. So I want to see maybe like more game modes because to me the best what keeps me around with Marvel Rivals is the combat. It's just so fun. Like it's just fast. It's engaging. It's simple enough to where like anyone can kind of the actual playing the heroes is like the most fun part about this game. So I want to see them expand. I think this is going to be a hot take. I don't really like the game modes in hero shooters, if I'm being honest. Like there's better game modes out there. Like I would prefer if you're gonna have people fight against each other, just have it be one life death match in like a smaller map, like an arena. That'd be way more intense, right? But like the heroes probably aren't balanced for that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm open to maybe seeing like a capture the flag game mode, right? Like
Ooh, that would be sick.
because
Actually.
like the mobility characters in this game all suck. Like what are all the like the most mobile characters? Spider-Man, not meta. Well, I mean, not great, but like Hulk is not meta. Like Cap's pretty good, but like it's just to see characters being utilized in different ways. So I think the 18 versus 18 mode is big W. I missed the TFT mode. I also like that game mode a lot. I really like the secondary game modes they make. They're actually pretty good. So I want to see like maybe a competitive version of something. Something that could be brought into ranked. Because we normally give our heroes like what heroes we want to see, guys. So if you wanted to do that too, but for me it's going to be the game modes.
I'll kind of play off that. So I had probably like 6,000, maybe 8,000 hours in Overwatch. I had a lot of hours, but at least 1,000 of those hours were in this little game mode called Try Hard Free for All. Those who don't know.
I don't know.
And
what
it was basically free for all where they stripped away ultimates except for the skillful ones. A lot of abilities they removed the non-skill ones, and so you could go in and practice your duels with just the raw, like a lot of mechanical based characters, and you could fight in there, and it was super fun because you could be a plat player, go play Try Hard Free for All, and there'd be like 3 top 500 players in there just randomly like dueling, and you're just like you're practicing
amount of
tracer
pros
duels and
before
game disposals,
scrims.
and it was just it was the place to be.
I think I've seen that actually.
And so there's Doom Match, but there's a lot of nonsense. There's a lot of pennies just camping. There's a lot of people just standing around. So I would love to see maybe something that incentivizes winning, maybe, or enough wins or something so people can farm out wins. And then you just put in. So you put in like Bucky in there, but you remove some things. Maybe you remove his ultimate. You remove aspects of him. You take other characters, and it's just like a raw mechanical fest. You know, there's Hela, there's Psy, no Hela ultimate, no Psy ultimate. It's just like people are fighting. People are raw. I think that would be extremely fun. Maybe add in a new map in there too. You could even add a ranked version where like top 4 people get to rank up, and then it gets super competitive. Because there was a ranked like deathmatch. So that's what I would want. I would fucking spend all my hours in there, and I feel like my mechanics. Like there was only one time in my life where I felt like my mechanics were legitimately like top tier, like could compete with the best of them, and it was when I was fucking grinding Try Free for All every day in Overwatch, and I just felt fucking. And so you just got so many repetitions. You get to 1v1 tracer duel like a pro player, like over and over again, just randomly. It was so good. So
I would
that's what I
love
want.
that, honestly. Like as someone who's got weak mechanics, I would love the opportunity to go up against better players. Because a lot of times people are like, "Oh, this person's on the enemy team, it's GG." I'm like, no, like this is the best challenge ever. Like now it's the time to test your skills. So I would love an opportunity to play against better players like that.
Yeah, no, it was sick. But what do y'all think? Have y'all thought of one thing you would add in this next year? You had one thing that y'all could, or it could be a balance change. It could be anything y'all want. New character, new mode, new map.
I definitely have one. I definitely do.
Okay, well, what's your one?
Especially since we talked a lot about neutral. I watched that Samito podcast, and I actually agreed with a decent amount of what he said. I think neutral in a game like a hero shooter lives and dies by how OP your support alts are. And like as much as Gambit is really strong and his ultimate feels horrible to play against, it is the first support ultimate where if I press Q first, I will pretty much win the fight. Like I can take a lot of initiative. It forces me on support to be very active, have damage boost. Like I have to do damage to outperform the other guy. Like Moira, for example, in Overwatch. Like I was trying to maximize how much ult charge I got because if I got Coalescence first, I got to set the tempo. A lot of support ults, it feels like I get it and then I'm just sitting and waiting for Psylocke to ult. And I think that is so boring. But that's why I love Gambit, because he can be very like active and it forces us to like actually like take initiative. And that's why I love this. But he's a little OP. I just want to see more of like gameplay mechanics for supports that is more active, nano boost type of things. Kiriko ult, which is what Gambit is. Things that are more like I have to actually do things and like I'm constantly like trying to click my neutral better so I can just get my ult faster. Like that, if I can just have more of that, the game feels so much better. But at the same time, it's very difficult to balance.
Give me Bucky Nano. Come on, let's go.
I mean, I could. If I could.
Well, like,
I would.
That's why like last season I played primarily Rocket, and people were like, "Why Rocket?" I'm like, "Because this all gets kills." Like,
yeah.
You know, Luna, Invis, Cloak and Dagger, those ults are for people who are bad at the game, who need something to bail them out of their dumb decisions, right? But if I rocket ult, and I understand that if I see someone overextend, I'm like, oh, if I rocket ult, they die. And even if they burn the amp, as long as that person dies, 6v5, high elo, we're going to win. Then also at the same time, you know, I see someone get a pick. I'm like, oh, there's 5 people up. If I rocket ult right now, we're going to wipe the other 5, stagger them even harder. And then by the time that they fully regroup, I'm already 60% to my next ultimate again. Like, I love the playmaking ultimates because now I get to control that tempo. Like you said, I'm setting the pace of the game and I have more control rather than just play denying. Because, like, Luna ult, you know, is really powerful. Invis ult is really powerful. But if they ult late and someone dies, then that ult all of a sudden gets a whole lot less value. Because if it's all about keeping people alive, and once you keep people alive, then you got to get kills in it. But if you ult late and you're in a 5v6 already, if the enemy team just stabilizes and waits it out, you're just going to lose that fight. But with the support ults that do damage and allow you to make those plays, it puts more control into the support's hands as well, where it's like, I don't have to rely on strictly my DPS to get kills. I have an opportunity here in which I can secure something myself and make a play. And that
it makes better support players too, by the way.
Yes.
And it makes things way more interactive and the neutral starts to matter more. And, and it just feels so much better from a support's perspective.
Exactly. It's not just about play denial, it's about playmaking.
Like more Gambit, Jeff, and Rocket ults.
Things that like if I get it
Luna,
first,
Invis,
it feels so good.
Right.
Yeah.
Just
and Luna, it's
very
the same way. Don't get me
reactive.
wrong. It's just it just doesn't feel as
very. I mean, just hyper reactivity. Yeah, it just seems.
Yeah. Like I don't think a transcendent should last 12 seconds for a whole year.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always said there's like three types of ways to design an ability. There's the proactive ability, you know, using something offensively. There's predicting an ability, you know, shields, bubbles, stuff like that. And then there's like the reactive. Reactive is like Suzu from Overwatch. It's the least interactive. It's dumb. It's lame. It's like, oh, you press a button, then I press a button afterwards. That's what Luna ult was. Like the first two, you know, proactive abilities and predictive abilities feel a lot more like you outplayed the person than it was just like, oh, I pressed a button, then you pressed a button afterwards. Like,
you don't think like Gambit CC break? I mean, that's pretty cool reactive ability.
No, that's a good one because also though it's a high cost to using his cards
because it is actually kind of predictive, right? Because you have to.
You have to be tunnel visioning the fact that he has that ult, and then I have to actually dodge the ult. But to be fair, it is still a little like I'm not saying he's like not OP. Like he definitely needs some changes, but like it just feels better from a support's perspective. And like I feel like I have a lot more Gambits that lose me games than I have like Invises or Lunas that lost me games before. Like I just like that it demands more out of me as a player, and it just feels like the neutral starts to matter more. And
you
maybe
have to
I'm
think
so
a
wrong.
lot more about it too and plan ahead. Like
I compare that to something
agree.
maybe like an invisible pull push. Like that could be reactive, proactive. That could be like all of it, right? It could be all those. Those are like the best types of abilities, and I think they should really try to put.
Actually
like but it's just you gotta be careful just letting every character do one thing because I think there needs to be a bit of parity in between each hero.
Oh yeah, there's definitely like a lot of. I'm not a dev. It's just like you're 100% correct. Yeah, I agree with you.
But But yeah, Death, you're the last one up. What do you think? What do you think? You're gonna wrap it up for us. What do you think is the thing that you want for the next year?
Can I say a few things, but they all be pretty quick?
Yeah.
Remove performance-based SR, incentivize people to peel, incentivize people
Agreed.
to, destroy clones, destroy squids, destroy penny nests, like, stall the convoy out, incentivize team play and not just doing a bunch of mindless damage in order to get MVP. Because people go into Reddit being like, why didn't I win these games? It's MVP, SVP the whole way down. It's like, because you're not playing for your team, you're playing for yourself. The other thing, I agree with like what Samito and other people have said, the neutral game should matter more. Tone down support and DPS ultimates across the board, incentivize like more of the neutral gameplay to allow more skill expression. And like, I would say global alt nerf across the board, 20% like Overwatch did, that actually made the game feel really good. I think that's a great idea for them to do because alt charge happens really fast in high elo. Like you get them quick. And like, we all know that Moon Knight that got an ult in 25 seconds. Like that, it's insane sometimes. And the third one, the one that I really like, what they did with the what's the lobby, the new lobby, the city called? I forget.
Oh yeah.
Times Square.
Times Square. Yeah. Thank you. Times Square. The zombie mode. 18 versus 18. It feels like what these guys, what NetEase is doing is what you would have in like the game industry, like a game jam where a few people, teams would get together and they're like, come up with something over a few days, right? And they just prototype something out. And it just feels like that. It feels like they're just like, everyone just prototyped a bunch of random ideas and just like, wow, this is a really good one. Like, let's go with this. And it didn't have to be perfect. Like, zombies wasn't the most like artistically amazing thing. A lot of it was like, repeated zombies, whatever. But it was a fun game mode for Halloween. And all of these different modes that they're adding in the Times Square, it's actually really making the game feel a lot more interesting, a lot more fun, and gives you a great way to do something with friends that when you're burnt out on, playing too much ranked or whatever, like it's fun to just sort of go into these tiny little areas and explore and move around. And like, you're still, exploring Times Square, even though it's a small little area, but as your favorite heroes is fun. People are getting silly and wacky in there. It's cool to see the trailers and stuff. Like, I think those little things like that, where it's not about, trying to make the most perfect balanced game, but just being like, what's fun and just adding it to the game. I love that they're doing those types of things and I want to see more of it, honestly.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, sounds good. All right. Well, thank y'all guys for coming by. Let them know where to find you. Where can people find y'all?
I am Deathandgaming on YouTube. You can find me Death_and_gaming on Twitch. I do a lot of educational Rivals content, stream on YouTube and Twitch here and there. And yeah, if you ever have any questions on, the macro strategy of the game, then, feel free to head on by and ask some questions. But yeah, that's it for me.
And then you can find me on PAZswagger on Twitch, Paz on YouTube. I do a lot of bronze GMs on all the characters. If there's a character that you want to learn, I've probably done it, and I probably have a guide
Except for
it.
Thor. He hasn't done Thor yet.
Yeah, I haven't done Thor.
Keep bothering him about it. Tell him to play Thor already.
It's Thor, BP, Spider-Man, Scarlet. Those are the only ones I haven't done yet, but I'm getting done those soon.
You can skip Scarlet.
And,
Just kidding.
Scarlet Witch is she's gonna be so fun, guys. I swear I love Scarlet Witch. But
you got to do it before the Strange team up leaves.
I've. You're right. I have to catch up. But yeah, like once I'm done with all those, then maybe you'll actually see me in ranked games with some of these guys too.
Let's
I'll be
go.
getting back
Oh,
on
yeah.
my main as well. So.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
thanks for
having
coming by.
us.
Peace,
Yeah.
peace.